All right, my express entry law friends, this is Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher, coming to you one last time. And if you look at the title, I don't know if you can see it with this video that I'm doing right now, but this is the last EE Live Q&A I am going to do with one of my best friends. And I say that kind of jokingly because it is. It is approximately 10:47 p.m. tonight. I'm still at my office and I have been working extremely hard. You can see the lighting is a little bit bad because I've had to put my iPhone up here to give light so everybody can see me. It's so dark out. But I wanted to jump on and just let you know that I'm available, or I will be available, for just a few minutes tonight to answer a few impromptu questions. And I'm doing this in honor of my good friend, Mr. Tooth. And if any of you have watched carefully and watched the videos, you'll see that right here, I have what we call a partial denture, a tooth in the front that I lost playing baseball. And as of tomorrow, that tooth will be gone. And in replace of that tooth will be a new fake tooth accompanied by braces. Can you guys believe that? At age 45, I have to get braces so that I can have enough room for my brother-in-law, who's an oral surgeon, to stick a new tooth in to fix this one that I've had for over 20 years thanks to baseball. Ralph's getting a kick out of it. That's hilarious. So the reality is it's super late tonight, but in honor of my good friend Mr. Tooth, and we've had a lot of fun, folks. I have freaked out so many little kids with this tooth and they can never figure out how I do it. The tooth that disappears and reappears, or the tooth that dances, or the tooth that just drops down slowly. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but hey, this is what you get when I have my own private Express Entry Law Facebook page. You get the real me. And today, I'll be honest, this evening I'm in mourning. So my poor tooth is going to be gone and I will have these stupid braces for like a year. Can you believe that? Me doing Facebook, live Facebook videos, this professional lawyer with braces on. Well, whatever. It is what it is. And you guys have learned a long time ago that I could really care less what people think. At the end of the day, it's the content, not the presentation here that means anything. So anyways, I was working my tail off yesterday and today. I was at the office till about 11:30 at night last night. And then tonight, obviously, it's just about 11, completing 3 new Express Entry Facebook, well, no, they were just Express Entry videos that I created for the purposes of my big, massive launch. And I've talked with you guys about this, and many people have been asking me about it, but it's this. I'm going to relaunch my Express Entry Complete Step-by-Step Guide to Doing It Yourself on September the 13th. So leading up to that, we are going to send out notifications. We're going to announce it to as many people as we can, and there's a number of videos that are going to go in preparation for it where I teach people a number of different things about Express Entry, all leading up to a huge live, it's not an EE Live Q&A on our Facebook page, but it's this massive launch that I'm going to do with a whole bunch of fanfare. Hopefully we'll have a ton of people that are going to be attending it live, and it's all to celebrate the launch of the EE, the Express Entry Complete Step-by-Step Guide to Doing It Yourself. And I've got a whole bunch of cool things that I've announced. But anyways, oh yeah, Mahesh, yeah, I'm gonna look amazing with braces. Anyways, all right, so you kind folks, there's a few of you on here right now. I wanted to give you one last go around. If you have any questions about Express Entry or your applications or anything like that, you can fire them off now. I think I have, I'm just trying to think if I have shown you guys all of the latest of what me and my family has been doing. I think I showed you guys in the previous one, my family. So here's our crew. This is a bridge over this river. I'm positive I showed you guys this. Hey, Dennis, how you doing? Anyways, so this here is where we were at. We had a really good time with the family. And then I thought I would also show you, I think I showed you this already, but hey, while we're waiting for people to post their questions here, I got to show you this one. I think you've seen it. Oh, yes, I remember now. It's because it goes sideways that I couldn't show you. Okay, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to share my screen, and it is a messy screen, folks, because I've been going strong. I'm going to open this up. Come on. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to try to make it full screen. Okay, check this out. This is my little daughter. This is my little girl.
4, 3, 2, 1. Well, that was cute.
So that was my daughter, Michaela. Anyways, she's a riot. I love her. Anyways, okay, let's see what we got for questions here. Oh, Dennis, you got your PR card. Fantastic. You are very welcome, my friend. Dennis was actually, through this group here, was one of the first clients that I had. And I hope you don't mind me saying that, Dennis, but it was an absolute pleasure to work with you. He was one of the guys that was one of the last ones to get through under the old 600 points for a job offer. So Dennis went to school here, got his job offer, and then the government, we knew that they were going to be changing the rules, and he was going to be losing his 600 points that he needed to qualify and get his ITA. And me and one of my employees, we stayed up late through the weekend and quickly got his profile submitted, and it worked out. Hey, Dennis, he got his ITA. We filed everything for him, and Dennis now is a full-fledged permanent resident of Canada. So I'm super, super excited for you. You were just the awesomest client in the world. So congratulations, my friend. Super happy for you. All right, let's see. And then also Ralph, who's also circulating around here. We've told your story too, haven't we, Ralph? Ralph we had to what I call fandangle the immigration system. Ralph had a little bit of trouble with some of the language tests. And so we convinced the government to allow just the spoken part and none of the other tests to be assessed. So anyways, it worked out awesome for Ralph too, and he's a permanent resident of Canada as well. And so very cool, very cool. Okay, Dennis, that's awesome. Yes, Mark is great. Highly recommend for you guys to work with Mark. Thanks, Dennis. I really appreciate it. Dennis was actually going to subscribe to the course, I think, and then he just decided to just hire me to do the whole thing for him. So it was awesome. Very cool. It's awesome when you guys come on here. That, yeah, like I said, I tell people all the time that people are like family to me, and I've never met Dennis in person, but man, that's embarrassing, as if I have tears in my eyes. That's hilarious. It's late, man. I'm drained. Anyways, people that I see become permanent residents are like family to me. And so it's so cool to see that happen and to see the change in people's lives. And Ralph's family, I'm super close to him and his sister and her husband, and they have a beautiful baby now. He's just an angel. All right. Okay. Let's see. We've got lots of thumbs. That's great. Now I'm scrolling back to get to all the questions again here. I was distracted. Okay, Shakib says, I'm from Bangladesh. My maternal uncle is my sponsor. Will Embassy visa approved with low IELTS for undergraduate in Manitoba varsity. Ooh, Shakib, those PNP questions are ones that I don't focus here within our Express Entry group, mostly because the programs are also very different. And so I spend a lot of time focusing exclusively on the general Express Entry process. So I can't answer your question just in terms of the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. I actually have some wonderful colleagues that practice in Manitoba. I've had them on my Canadian Immigration podcast, and they would be able to answer all of those questions. So if you'd like me to send you a referral to one of those awesome lawyers in Manitoba, I'd be delighted to do that. Nasser Ahmad says, I want to go to Canada. Please help me. Nasser, hold off till September the 13th and then subscribe to this right here, my friend. And it will explain everything that you need to do and actually show and demonstrate you step by step how to complete the forms. And for a lot of you who choose the subscription process, you'll find out right away whether or not you have a good chance of qualifying. And so for just a fraction of a cost that it would be to hire some agent overseas or myself here in Canada, you can assess whether or not you have a good chance of qualifying and then choose to opt out of this subscription if you don't right now. So that's what I would recommend. All right, let's see. Mohammed says, my knock is 1221. In PNP, I can apply for Mark. The answer, Mohammed, is the same. You guys, maybe I just have to start addressing PNPs. I know you guys ask a lot of questions about that. While I'm doing this, I just want to confirm, how's the sound? Is the sound okay? I've been playing a little bit with the sound while I was recording some of my videos for the Express Entry video series. And sometimes I had some problems with my mic and the audio. So if it doesn't sound very good, let me know. Okay, Sabraman says, hello, Mark. I am in the last leg of my PR application. Very cool. How long will it take to get my visa stamped after I submit my passport? You know what? It can take, depending on where you're at. So obviously it depends on the visa office that you're applying through. But generally speaking, it's around 2 weeks, especially if you're going through a VAC, a visa application center. It happens really quick. Okay, let's scroll back down here to the beginning so I can catch up in real time to the people who are posting. Okay. Theodore. Hey, Theodore. All right. Theodore says, what could happen if you submitted your PR application and in the section that lists family members not accompanying you, and you did not put their middle name in, because could this affect their application? Also, what if you made a mistake for family birthday by putting the day of birth 2 days earlier than the actual day of birth? Is that a big issue with IRCC? You know, I'll be honest, Theodore, that type of an error is usually not going to result in your application being returned. It's not a substantive issue. In past EE Live Q&As, I've talked about the importance of the actual lock-in. So when you file your EAPR application, your electronic application for permanent residence, if there are changes that are material or substantive in nature, they're big ones that would actually affect on your eligibility for one of the PR programs or would impact on your comprehensive ranking system scores, then that could result in an officer refusing for your application being incomplete or no longer meeting the minimum entry criteria or the eligibility for PR. So you could result in your application getting bounced back. But in that situation, I would think that's probably a pretty minor mistake. And so I would be really surprised if an officer had an issue with it to the extent that they found that you had somehow misrepresented anything. But that would be surprising. Okay. Nazmul says, hi, Mark. I was wondering if it is possible to apply for Express Entry if I hold a bureaucratic official passport. If not, can I initiate the process with an official passport and then change it when I get my PR? Thanks a lot. I always recommend, Canada treats those diplomatic passports just a little bit different. I always recommend that if it's possible, people have regular passports and they apply with a regular passport. It depends on every country, so I can't say specifically for yours. But usually, if it's possible, I go through the process of obtaining a regular passport just to make sure. All right. Muhammad says, me, 33, Master of Electrical Engineering with 10 years of experience and IELTS 7.5. Spouse, 29, Masters of Electrical Engineering with 3 years of experience and IELTS. Please tell us about our prospects for express entry. Muhammad, here's what I recommend you do. And I'm going to show you this just so that you can log in yourself. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to find my page here. I'm going to blow this up big. And then I'm going to go right here. And I am going to search CRS tool right there. So for me, it pops up early. You might need to type in Express Entry as well as CRS tool, but you're going to get this comprehensive ranking system tool, skilled immigrants. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to go in and enter your own information in here. And you can see, actually, I need to make sure that I've got this. Bear with me for 1 second, folks. Yeah, I did share my screen. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I shared it. Like I said, it's been a really long day, so I'm kind of dragging a little bit. It's so late. And I have to hop on my bike and ride home still, which is about a 25-minute ride. I have to go down this valley and up this other steep hill. Anyone who knows Lethbridge, Alberta knows what we call the West Side Hill, and it's a steep climb. Fortunately, there's lots of street lamps. Okay, so this is where you go. You enter your information here. If you're married, obviously, and just follow the prompts here, and then it will calculate your score right here. All right? So that's what I'm going to tell you to do, my friend, and then you can figure it out for yourself even. You may have to guess if you don't have, well, you do have your IELTS. So, and remember, IELTS, it's every ability. So you have to meet at least a CLB 7 with each ability. So it's not an average score. I do have a question about experience class. Can I ask here? I think, Raj Mahan, I think you're asking about the Canadian experience class. Absolutely. I do tons of those. So no problem. I can answer those. I want to contact with him. Please let me his ID. Absolutely. And actually, there's two. There's a female lawyer who is a partner with one of the firms in Manitoba. And she's a good friend that I went to law school with. Her name is Sophia Mirza, and I recommend that you reach out to her and ask her any questions about the Manitoba PNP. But after the video is done, I'll log back in and try to post her contact information here. All right. Okay, good. We got good confirmation on the audio. That's how far behind I am with the comments, guys. Okay, everybody's saying the sound is good. Sometimes when I talk really expressive and I get loud, which I can get loud, it causes some distortion in the mic, and so I don't want that to happen. All right. Okay, so Sammy's got 8s in IELTS, 1.5 years worked as an instructor at university in 2012, came to Canada in 2014 to start PhD. Is there any cattle can apply? CRS points 370. I think maybe that's chance, maybe that I can apply. Sammy, it depends, because remember, when you go to school, you get extra study points for your school. And after you graduate, then you can get an open work permit. Now, I'm not sure how far along you are, if you're here on a postgrad work permit or what, but sometimes for you guys, it's just extending your time. Depending on the province you're in, like the province of Alberta, it doesn't contribute, or it's not a part of Express Entry, but if you're here working, there are actually some pretty good options to convert to permanent residence outside of the Express Entry process. All right, Theodore says, does it make a significant difference if you do not include pay slip with my job experience letter? The letter had all the required information. Also with proof of funds, do I have to state all my different bank accounts? If I'm CEC, what if you only submit letter only from one bank from a total of 3 with a letter of explanation waiver for proof of funds? Does IRCC accept this waiver knowing that CEC application doesn't have to prove funds? Okay. Okay, Theodore, you are getting like a free consultation here in the midst of our EE Live Q&A. You better be grateful, man. Okay, Theodore, so the question first, the government asks for the reference letter, and they say pay slips if available. So they're not mandatory. They could always come back and ask you for them, but your application is not considered incomplete if you don't provide your pay slips. All right. Then as far as proof of funds, if you're CEC, man, like forget about it. Just put a letter in there saying I'm applying through the Canadian Experience class, therefore I don't need to provide proof of funds. So even though I have a spot to upload my proof of funds letter to it, please note that now I understand I do not need to provide proof of funds. So here's my letter of explanation saying I'm not providing you with anything because I don't have to. All right, there you go. Awesome. Okay, Ralph's laughing at me. Oh boy. Okay, Hyder says, Mark, I'm married. Can I go for express entry alone? Heck yeah, Hyder, you can. You can list your spouse as non-accompanying, and but they have to be medically examined. Police clearances have to be done, and you need to fully disclose everything. There's a lot of reasons why spouses don't come with the principal applicant initially. Aside from the fact, those 40 points, you're going to be assessed as if you were not married. That's obviously there's an advantage if your spouse has low human capital, low language ability, low education, and no work experience, then you're going to lose 40 points. But that's aside. I would never advise anyone to not include a spouse just to save the 40 points. But there's a lot of reasons why people don't come. And so, maybe it's easier for the principal applicant to come to Canada, get settled, get a house, do everything they need to do, and then sponsor their spouse to come at a later date in the family. So it happens all the time. It's totally fine. So no problems there. Mohammed's asking provincial prospects. Oh, that's one thing, Mohammed. I don't deal with PNPs here. Okay, Annie says, if family name is not mentioned in passport, then what we have to mention at Express Entry Profile? Okay, Annie, I'm going to provide a link because the government actually gives specific instructions when your passport only lists everything in just the first name, for example. There are instructions. I can't remember exactly what they are. It's been a while since I've had a client with that issue. Oh my goodness, this light is going to blind me, folks. I'm trying to keep my face nice and bright here, but after looking into the light of an iPhone for about 20 minutes, you start to go blind. All right, well, I'm going to take one for the team, and I'm going to keep doing this. And just, if I'm looking down like this, it's because I'm being blinded by the light. This is why I don't record them late at night. I need to get myself one of those big fancy lights, the soft glowing light to illuminate everything so beautifully. In my office, I'm surrounded by windows here in this corner office in my law firm. And so the natural light during the day is just beautiful. It's wonderful. But at night, it's not great. Okay, let's see. Okay, so family name, yeah, Annie. I'll try to remind me if I don't respond, tag me, and I'll try to figure out where that link is. I can't remember which section you put it in, and how you get the fields to respond with an express entry. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've had one, but I'll find it. I can figure it out. I can figure out pretty much everything. Okay, Samit, hi Mark, can you please confirm if the proof of funds, which is required to be 6 months, is that required before creating profile, or it is considered from the date of an ITA issued? Okay, so Sumit, the government asks you to provide a letter from your bank providing the average balance for 6 months. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have those funds in your account or have had to have those funds for any specific period of time. For my clients, I advise them to have it. Leave it there. Make sure that the average balance is at least that threshold for your proof of funds, that minimum amount. But there is no rule that says it has to be in there for any set period of time. Some people are gifted the money by family. Some people sell something and then those funds become liquid. They sell their home, whatever, and then they have money to help them immigrate. So it's just a matter of you, when you apply for your electronic application for permanent residence, your EAPR, at that stage you must have all of your funds available. Okay? And really, in all honesty, when you submit your profile, you're also indicating how much funds you have. And so, you may not have it in your bank account right now, but I always like, well, the reality is when I do work for clients, I rarely take a client that I don't believe is going to get drawn right away. I just don't feel like it's fair to you guys. So when it comes to submitting your profile, I always feel that it's important to actually have those funds right when you submit your profile. Even though it may not be necessarily mandatory or something that you have to prove, the issue is really when you're submitting your EAPR and when you are actually landing in Canada at the port of entry. You need to be able to demonstrate those funds. So you'll have to govern yourself accordingly there, but I actually like to have them in even when I submit my profile. Thanks, Theodore, for the positive feedback. Lots of thumbs up. Suppose I land, take my PR, go back. Go for it. That's Shahiria. Shariar. I'm sorry, Shariar. It's like you guys trying to pronounce Holthy. It's like Olth. Anyways, for you, you can land and go home. The rule is you need to show, in order to maintain your permanent resident status, that you have been physically present in Canada for at least 2 years in every 5-year period. So when your PR card comes up and you have to apply, you better be able to show that you've spent at least 2 years in Canada. Lots of people land and then they go home, and that's just the way it is. It takes time to wrap up your affairs, to resettle in Canada. Sometimes people have good jobs that they're not quite ready to leave yet, and there's a whole host of reasons. So there you go. Sammy's in BC under student visa. Cool, Sammy. Awesome. So then you've got a little bit of time ahead of you. If you want to talk about the options and everything that's available to you, I do consultations, a minimum 30-minute consultation, and in that time period I charge about $200 plus GST. In Alberta it's 5%, so it's about $210 for a 30-minute consult. And I can give you direction. It's a lot easier for you guys in Canada to pay my legal fees than it is for you in Pakistan or Bangladesh or India. But Sammy, for half-hour consult, I can give you direction on all your options, buddy. All right. Okay, come back after 3 years and stay for 3 years. Can I apply for citizenship? Well, you're going to have to just wait and see. The laws are changing, and it'll depend on a lot of factors. But understand, it's physical presence here, so you must have met that threshold. And in the fall, citizenship rules are changing back to 3 years. So the answer is probably yes, if that's what you're going to do, but you can't come back after 3 years. If you come back after 3 years, then that means you've spent 3 years and a day, 1 day too long outside of Canada. So remember, in order to maintain your permanent resident status, you have to have shown that you've been in Canada 2 years in every 5-year period. And if you spent 3 years in a day, that means you've spent 1 day less than the 2 years. So don't play with that. Be careful. Make sure you don't push it. You want to make sure you give yourself lots of buffer, because every day outside of Canada, that's starting to pull away from your residency obligations. Okay, I got to put this on here. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, here's the scoop, guys. I have to lose this, otherwise I'm going to go blind. So my ugly face is going to be hidden more in the dark here. Okay, there we go. That's better. I guess it's not so bad. It's so dark out that. Okay, anyways. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. I'm getting tuckered out, folks. Okay, I want to get business entrepreneurship as business EE. What should I need? Oh, Mohammed, that depends on a whole host of different things. Right now, there is no business express entry. You're talking about the various economic or investor programs or entrepreneur programs that may exist in the various provinces. Quebec, investor programs. BC, some of the other provinces have entrepreneur programs, but there's lengthy processing times. They're oversubscribed, just like everything. And so it may take you a very long time before you, even if you do qualify, to get a nomination, because they only issue a small number. So yeah, that's a question for a whole different group. Okay. Shakib. All right, Shakib. Okay, I didn't find her ID. You know what? We're going to go find Sophia. She'll get a kick out of this. Sophia's awesome. She's a great lawyer. She's a good friend. All right, let's go find Sophia Mirza. Here we go. Sophia Mirza, Fillmore, Riley, Manitoba. All right, let's go find Sophia. There's Sophia. Fillmore Riley, she's a partner there. She's awesome. There's Sophia. Yeah, she'll get a kick out of that. So there's her number. You guys can see that. Let's see if I can blow it up even more. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Actually, I better make sure that you guys can see this. Okay, yes. I keep forgetting if I'm putting this on full screen or not. Anyways, there's Sophia Mirza, lawyer in Manitoba, if you want to contact for any Manitoba PNP issue. See, the difference between lawyers or consultants or these crooked agents in your home countries who are helping you to file through the PNPs is they are not tapped in. I know the program manager in Alberta personally. Now, I would never, ever abuse that relationship or anything. But if there are things that are happening within the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program, I know about them because I'm here. But I don't know anything about the latest things that are happening with the Manitoba PNP. But Sophia does. And I've got awesome friends and colleagues that are all across the country that practice immigration just like me, who are tapped into those programs. So if I was you, I would only retain lawyers in those provinces to help you, generally speaking. Now, it's not rocket science, I know, but you've seen how fast everything closes. The moment you get your application together and you're ready to file it, well, the program's already shutting down. So, and you lose your opportunity. Anyways, so there you go. Say thank you, Shakib. Okay. Okay, Iftikhar. Double bachelor's degree. Okay, great. 38. 405 is your CRS points. How many chances for immigration through EE, federal or provincial? Okay, well, we know the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, when they want to get around to it, if you've got 400 CRS, they usually send out a little notification, say, hey, we might be interested in you. If you can get your application to us, we might think about it in, a couple of years. We'll get around to giving you a considering your nomination. But it's not quite that bad. But sometimes it feels that way, I think, for people. So OINP 405, Iftikhar, well, you know what? Nobody knows right now. I don't think it's going to go down that low. But who knows? Maybe the end of the year, December, the government looks at how many nominations they've issued. Or the provinces say, hey, we haven't issued all our nominations, or there's some that are left over that get kicked back to the federal government, or there's that's quite unlikely, but it's possible they shift those spots around, and if they're not used by the provinces, then sometimes the federal government reclaims them. But generally speaking, it's possible that maybe the federal government, maybe they decide they're going to issue a whole bunch of ITAs right at the very end, before the year's out, and lo and behold, the threshold drops. It's hard to say. I'm just guessing here. Okay, Chandra, applying for EE, but will family members will be unaccompanied? Do family members need to undergo medical and have to submit all requirements? Okay, Chandra, spouses and children 100% need to be medically examined. Non-negotiable, 100%. Spouse needs to have police clearances done. But other than that, that's just basic information when you're completing the express entry application. There's basic information for them, but they don't need to get ECAs or undergo or even do language testing. It's just they're not coming, so they're not affecting your application. And Chandra, you would be assessed. Your CRS would be assessed as if you were unmarried, that you weren't married. Ralph, you're always crying to tears. It's hilarious. You're probably laughing at me getting blinded here. Okay, Theodore, I'm very grateful. Thanks. You lots. You're awesome. Thanks, Theodore. No worries, man. No worries. Okay, Yadwinder. Hey, welcome, Yadwinder. Hey, Mark. Hope you remember me. You bet. Yes, absolutely. You're always on here asking me questions. Okay, just one thing. I need clarification on. Can a spouse be added after? Oh, you had to go that way, didn't you? You had to ask that question. Can a spouse be added after you have been asked for passport, for visa stamping, or does it have to be before that? I need to plan my wedding accordingly. Oh, Edwinder. You can add a spouse all the way up to the very end as long as you have not landed and become a permanent resident. But I can tell you, man, it is going to delay your application. And another issue that you have to deal with is that medicals expire. And when you're adding a spouse, then you have to have them medically examined. They have to obtain police clearances. They have to provide all of that information, additional family information sheets. They haven't, at this point, requesting detailed background declaration information yet, but that's a possibility. They could do that. But you can add a spouse at any point in time. If you get married, that's what the instructions specifically state. And so, yes, you can add your spouse all the way up, but you're going to be pushing it. And if your medical is going to expire and they're valid for 1 year and you're running out of time, then, well, they're probably not going to give you too hard of a time if you just got married. But yeah, you have to take that into consideration. But you can really add a spouse at any time up until the point you before you actually become a permanent resident. It just delays stuff, especially if they've asked for the passport. Now, I'll tell you, I had another family that I did work for from the U.S., and they had a child. And they decided to go back to the U.S. to work for a little bit while they were waiting for their permanent residence to be processed. And then they had a baby there. Oh, my goodness. It was quite a hassle because the child had to be medically examined. You can imagine a newborn baby getting medically examined. And passport. They had to get a new U.S. passport for the child. And it took 6 extra months just to add that child. It was crazy. So expect delays. If you're going to add a spouse at the final stages, expect delays. Okay, do you see the ITA scores? Mahesh says, do you see the ITA scores to go down below 400? My spouse is at 397, but will be going down in another couple of days. And I know why, Mahesh, because she's turning 1 more year. Her birthday's coming up probably. And so it's hard to say. We're just guessing here. We really don't know 100% what this whole ITA business is. You know, I kind of laugh at people who go in and they search all of the ITAs that have been issued. They try to determine how many they think there's still room to give. But there's a big gap between the issuance of an ITA to someone and that person becoming a permanent resident. You know, it can take a long time for someone to land. So they're not even going to be on the system and use up the quota. The quota is not set on the number of ITAs issued. The government's annual immigration levels planning is on people actually landing and becoming permanent residents and their family members. When someone is issued an ITA, it doesn't say how many people are actually being included with that. You know, whether there's going to be a spouse, whether there's going to be a family of 10 children. I have 4 myself. So 1 ITA for my family would be 6 people potentially immigrating. So you have to take that into consideration. So I always, as we say in Canada, take these projections that people give with a grain of salt. So essentially, you got to put a little salt in to swallow it. All right. Okay, Hyder says, thanks, Mark. You bet. Okay. Shari says, okay, after attaining PR, if I fly back and come back after 3 years, oh yeah, I think we already answered that one. Get a dark glasses. That's funny, Theodore. I should. That'd be hilarious, hey? But then you wouldn't be able to see the genuineness in my eyes. How I'm not trying to deceive you, but answer your questions truthfully and honestly and be helpful. Hey, that reminds me. I want to share something with you guys. I submitted a work permit application that was a very, very difficult work permit. I believe the client did qualify for it. The circumstances were justified. I had them, there was a huge problem that we had, and they had to leave the country, and they flew back into the Calgary airport. And over the years, I've always said the Calgary airport is kind of difficult, and I advise my clients to avoid processing applications there. But there's one officer there, and you know who you are, who went out of their way to take a very common sense, practical approach to the request that we were making. And within their discretion, issued a work permit to a very, very needy client. And I will be grateful to that officer forever for just showing a little bit of compassion and understanding with the situation that this young couple were in. Married to a Canadian citizen, which was a significant factor, eligible for an open work permit, but through a series of mistakes, and one of which was my own doing within my office. And so you guys have to understand that I'm up here talking to you, telling you how wonderful I am, but this is the first time it happened, but we make mistakes too. And we submitted a spousal sponsorship application, and I forgot somehow to get them to sign one of the forms, the additional family information form. And guess what the government did? The same thing they do because they're ruthless and cruel. They returned the whole application, which caused my client to, her work permit, which we were counting on an open work permit that was submitted with the spousal to bridge the gap and allow her to continue working under implied status. But when the package got returned, she lost her ability to work. And I met with my clients and I told them, I said, look, this is entirely my fault. So because it was a small family business, without her, it could jeopardize the ability for their business to continue functioning. And so I said to them, I said, look, I'm responsible for this. So you guys, if you need to go out and hire someone else to replace your wife, I will pay their wages until you get your work permit, because it was my fault that we missed it. Now, in fairness, it was a real big rush. We were really under a tremendous amount of pressure to get the file submitted. I stayed late to meet with them, all those kind of things that are really telltale signs of an accident waiting to happen. But in the end, the clients were so awesome. They were so understanding. And this miracle happened, and we were able to get her a work permit through a very, very discretionary work permit category. And now life is good again, and I enjoy being an immigration lawyer. But I just thought I'd share it with you guys. I don't know if you guys even care these stories I share with you, but it's like it's like you're all my counselors as I share the good and the bad, the heartache, the happiness. Anyways. All right. Knox Zero Vipul says, Knox 0621 demand in province sooner. Not a clue, Vipul. Any PNPs I'm going to pass through, guys. But if you tell me the province that you want to go to, I will refer you to some awesome lawyers that I trust. Okay. Oh, Annie says, my employer's not ready to provide the reference letter. Will relieving letter will work? Well, you know what's required. So I've shown this a lot, and I'll jump on and I'll show you guys again. We'll let Sophia go to bed here. She's been up with us for quite a while. If you go to the completeness check, you can go in here. You can see, and I'll enlarge this so all of you guys can see. And I can't tell who's new to our group or who isn't. It's interesting with these EE Live Q&As. I'm recycling information over and over because new people are watching it. But the difference with this is, in my new Express Entry do-it-yourself guide, and not new, but revitalized because it was in beta form, and that's why I was offering it so cheap at $40 US a month subscription. When it was in beta form, it is going to be chock full of all of these Q&As in a way that's much easier to search. And so, if you look at right here, proof of work experience, you'll see these are the requirements. Okay, so the letter that you have needs to have this information in it: job title, duties and responsibilities, job status, dates worked for the company, number of hours per week, annual salary plus benefits. It has to have all that. So if your letter, the one that you have or the one that you're trying to rely upon, Annie, if it doesn't have some of that information, then you have to be creative. And there is no formula for what will work and what won't. But you need to be able to prove, and through some other fashion, the information that's missing from your letter. So if there is no job duties listed, you need to figure out a different way to prove that, substantiate it. I always want to rely on third-party independent people versus an attestation by myself. The government does not like you swearing an oath and signing off on a statutory declaration or some other affidavit that says, I promise I worked in that occupation. They don't like that. So you have to, you've got to use whatever resources you can to try to find outside third party, like a colleague that you worked with, like a supervisor. Let's see here. I need to get a drink of water here. I'm dying. Excuse me. Speaking of dying, it's 11:30, folks, and we've been going about 45 minutes. And I do have to get home sometime tonight, and then I have to go in bright and early to my orthodontist to get my braces on. So I better shut this down pretty quick. I'm just going to take a quick scroll here and just see. Okay, Sammy says, okay, thanks, Mark. We'll contact you. You bet. Okay, Gurjinder, I'm going to try to wrap this up really fast. I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can here. What if my previous employer who provided me experience letter has sold his business and the contact details for the employer have changed? Just explain it. That happens. It does. If you can still have the new contact information for the person, then I would attach that as an addendum to the other letter, but that's not a problem. Rakesh says, at the immigration in the entry port, can I use the same proof of funds that I submitted during EAPR? Heck yeah, absolutely, Rakesh. I worked as one of those officers at the border, the Canada-US border, the land crossing, and that's totally fine. Absolutely, no problems at all. All right, I can't tell if Mamdo, if you're, I think you're laughing so hard you're crying. Those emoticons are quite funny. Okay, at the immigration port of entry, can I? Yeah, okay, we got that one, Rakesh. Ralph Hansky's thumbs up, awesome. Dennis, point the light to the wall to bounce it. You know, that's probably a good idea. Maybe I should hire you, Dennis, to come and help me. All right. Well, anyways, people can see me. It's a little bit dark, but aside from me getting my face right up there, you can see me, and the most important part is that you can hear me. Okay. Oh my goodness. So these are related to when I shut the light off. I haven't looked. Like, you guys have to appreciate, once I stop the feed, then I can't see all of the previous comments with my program that have been made. So there could be 5,000 more of you guys who have already posted comments that I just don't see yet. So I'll answer just a couple more questions, and then I'm going to have to beg your forgiveness, but I still have to get on my bike and ride home, which I'm not going to get home till midnight. And hopefully there's no one waiting to take me out and try to steal the money I don't have as I'm riding home. But you know what? If I don't make it home in 30 minutes, guys, call my wife and tell her to come looking for me. All right, Theodore, what's spousal sponsorship? With spousal, is it a requirement for your Canadian spouse to earn a minimum? Nope. Or minimum earnings is not a part of the requirement. It's not a part of the requirement. And yes, Theodore, I'm happy to answer your question. Nope. If you're the subject of a spousal sponsorship, there is no LICO, no low income cutoff for spouses. Now, they have to show that you're not going to be destitute if you're currently in Canada. But if you're outside Canada, no, it's not an issue. Okay. Sana says, hi, Mark, wanted to ask, my sister has got her PR and she will be moving to Canada by February. Can I show sibling connection and get 15 points? Or is it only once she gets there physically? Once she gets there physically. She has to be physically present in Canada. Okay, so we got the same one. Rakesh asked that one again. Look at all the thumbs up, hearts. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay. Yad Winder says, I can deal with the delays as long as she's accompanying. You bet, my friend. And obviously, remember, medicals, you have to be medically admissible. You have to be criminally admissible. And so those things sometimes can trip people up too if people have health conditions that they weren't aware of. It can result in you actually getting bounced from the system. And while I'm at it, you know what? Mario came on my podcast, so I'm going to show you one other thing. If you have any medical inadmissibility issues, and I'm not even sure if anyone monitors, well, they probably are not a part of my Express Entry group, but if you have any issues medically related, then I always refer to Mario Bellissimo Toronto. So Mario is the man. He is the man. And because I can say whatever I want, this is his firm right here, Bellissimo Law Group. But he's awesome. So this is the firm that you're going to contact if you want to connect. And I'll just pull up Mario here for all of you fine people. And boy, I wonder if he knows I'm giving him free plugs here. But this is Mario. He's the man. So there you go, Mario Bellissimo. I'll blow this one up in case people are trying to see, well, who is this guy they're talking about? Then you can pause the video and you can look at it. There's Mario, medical inadmissibility. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to shrink this back down, go back to full screen. Okay, Ralph. I'm not sure why Ralph's face is like an angry face. Hopefully I didn't make you upset, Ralph. Okay, Mohammed, hi Mark. Okay, he applied for his PR through the federal PNP program, got his bridging open work permit, and open permit in Alberta. Cool. I do got my job in engineering, but I'm scared to leave this current job. My question is, do visa officer will ask any further documents in the future? Stay with your job. If you can, just stay with your job. You don't want to take the chance. I imagine you're a little ways into the process. It can take a long time to finalize your application for permanent residence through the regular provincial nominee programs. But I recommend you just stay with your employer if you can. If not, just let's book a consult, Mohammed. We can talk about all the options. There is some flexibility. I'm dealing with some very difficult issues. One spouse of a principal applicant in Alberta, he died very quickly of cancer. It was so sad. And so we're working to try to work with IRCC and the program manager with the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program to see if IRCC will allow her application to continue going forward, because it was at the last stages. And it was under the long haul truck driving program, which without her husband, she would have to start all over from scratch. And so he passed away. It was sad. Okay, Harshal. Hi, Mark. My spouse, traveler to different countries through his office for work, so traveling to Bangladesh for multiple times. Cumulative number of stay is more than 180 days. So does he require police clearance certificate? Yes, wonderful, Harshal. Thank you for recognizing that. Yes, and then it's complicated by the fact he hasn't actually lived there. So you got to do the best that you can in the circumstances, but it's cumulative with express entry. So it's not consecutive like it always used to be. It's actually cumulative. So every day that you spend in there adds up, adds up. Okay, because even if we didn't get any response, as there's no Bangladesh embassy, we're finding it a little difficult. Can we prepare an explanation letter? Well, you do the very best you can, and you prepare, do everything that you can. I don't personally know all the intricacies of all of the police authorities all over the world, so I can't give you specific information. Maybe other members of our group have experienced situations like that. I recommend that you post this question within the main section of our Express Entry Law Facebook group and see if other people have had this same experience. Okay, Myrna, you're asking a PNP from PEI, not a clue. Ralph still... Ralph kills me with his emoticons. All right. Thanks, Mark, for adding the salt in the grain. Cheers. Awesome. Which province? Okay, Men of Preet. No PNP questions tonight. PNP. Okay, we've got someone asking super visa versus parental PR. Well, the difference is a super visa is just a visitor visa that can be extended for parents to come visit you. The family class parental sponsorship, which is currently a lottery, that process, I think we're at about 10,000 each year that they allow. It's just a lottery, but that is actually for them to come here and live permanently. Okay, lots of thumbs, laughing. Okay, asylum question, Mahmoud. I can't answer that one. Theodore, okay, sharing the work experience about your client. Now I know that you're truly human because you make mistakes too. Oh yeah, Theodore, I do, and you can attest. My staff can attest to that. We're not perfect, but I can tell you when we make mistakes, which fortunately for me, this mistake in my entire practice, not getting a form signed. This is the first time it's happened since I started practicing in 2003, but it's no consolation. I was just so grateful that it got fixed. Okay, Avinash says previously asylum claimant in UK after refusal returned back to home country voluntarily can apply for express entry, asking on behalf of my Indian friend. Yep, no problem, Avinash. It should not impact in any way, shape, or form. All right. Oh, see you guys? I want to show you this. This is my wife calling me. So do you know what? I'm going to answer the phone while you're here because you're all my friends anyways. Hello? On my way in just a little bit. I'm just responding to just a few last questions here and then I'm hopping on the bike. Yeah, it should be safe. There's lights along all the street. Okay? Oh, you bet. I love you. Bye. There you guys go. That was my awesome wife expecting me to be home already, worried that maybe it's too dark. And you guys can see out there, it is pitch black, 11:42. Okay, that is my sign. I'm shutting her down, guys. So, so thanks for tuning in to this EE Live Q&A, the spontaneous one. I don't even know how I'm going to describe this other than the way I have. My last EE Live Q&A with my tooth, my magic tooth that is no longer going to be present. I have no clue even how I'm going to talk with braces. It's going to be hilarious. But whatever. That's what I'm facing tomorrow morning. Thanks. You guys are awesome. I really enjoy this time. I love teaching. If I could do this full time, I would do it. It's awesome. I love practicing law. This firm is awesome. I'm not planning on going anywhere. They've been just gold to me. But I love doing this. And so it doesn't even feel like work to me. So when this course goes live, I want you guys as my evangelist telling everybody to purchase it because it's exactly what I'm doing right now with you. Except I'm doing a screencast walking you through the whole process step by step, even trying to anticipate some of your questions and answering them while I'm telling you how to fill it out. All right, there you go. Thanks so much, and sorry about the bad lighting, but now I can see I'm not blind. Remember, mark on your calendar, September 13th, 2017. It is, what's today? It's August the 28th, Monday. It's 11:43 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm probably going to do it in the evening, 6 p.m., anywhere from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Probably not too late, otherwise I'll be blind again unless I can find another light. But this is going to be a live explosion of express entry. I'm going to be so fired up. It's going to be just awesome. And I'm releasing a series of 3 videos that covers some very general, important things about express entry to all of the people, some that have never heard about express entry before, to others that are just looking for tips and strategies. And so those are going to be released right away. I completed them tonight while I've got my tooth. And so I won't have braces, fortunately, on those, but when we do the September 13th massive launch, then I'm going to have braces. It's going to be hilarious. Whatever. All right, I'm going to stop talking. Thanks so much, guys. If you have any questions that you want me to address specifically, just send me an email right here. That's where you can do it, and we can set up a paid consultation. If you want it considered for this EE Live Q&A, put EE Live Q&A in the subject line. Otherwise, I will assume that you want to set up a paid consult with me, $210 Canadian for a 30-minute consult, and I will totally make it worth your while. Also, if you want to retain me, I would be delighted to represent you with your full express entry application. I love doing that. I charge $5,000 Canadian for both parts, for the profile submission as well as the electronic application for permanent residence stage. And that's my legal fees. And yeah, that's the scoop, folks. Take care. It was awesome. Another wonderful EE Live Q&A with my friends here on the Express Entry Law Facebook group. See you later.